Hi again. Following on from my last video, which I know was long, I'm really sorry about that. I went out again yesterday, flat water pumping, and just a light bulb went off in my head. I had a real sort of moment where everything clicked together and more. It was just unbelievable. Having said in my last video that you're pumping down momentarily with your front foot first, and then immediately you're pushing down with your back leg, so you've got equal amounts of pressure on both. And if you need more power, then you're pushing more down with your back leg. Okay, I mean that works, and you saw the videos I've been doing, getting reasonable results. But over the last few days, I've been studying, analysing, looking at a whole lot of YouTube videos, specific ones. There's one on YouTube that you may well have seen already. It's called "Even the Dog Can't Believe Its Eyes." It's of Kane Wild in Maui, and he has got one of the most effortless, sort of refined pumping techniques that I have seen. I mean, in that video, he's using a board that's about 2.5 foot long. I don't know how he gets up on it, but that's almost irrelevant. The pump technique is what I'm looking at and what I'm studying and trying to break down in my head and then visualize doing it myself. And like I say, yesterday evening, jumping off the boat, wow, it just all clicked. So instead of what I've just described before, when I jump onto the board, generally speaking, I have to give it a couple of pumps just to get going and make sure that everything's right, I've got my balance and I'm going. But then either swiveling my front foot to the side slightly, so they're both pretty much not totally 90 degrees to the forward direction, but certainly less than 45 degrees. And maybe even bringing my front foot back just another inch. What that means is that I can press down with both legs with equal pressure and not have the front of the board tilt or angle down. And that's the key. That is the key. Well, there's two things that are the key. That's the first thing that's key. Because if your front foot is more forward, then as you press down, it's going to push the front of the board down with more angle. So if it's further back, then you can press down with more pressure on your front leg, and it won't angle the board down. It's just going to push it like that. The second thing that's key is that I've changed the way that I'm pushing on the board. I'm no longer pushing down and jumping or springing back up. What I'm doing, from looking at Kane's technique, I'm compressing my body going down, and that's the part that I'm trying to make my body weightless. So I'm almost like lifting up my knees or bringing my, lifting up my knees and bringing my body down to meet them. So it's more of a, you're bringing your knees up to unweight to lift your body weight off the board. And then when you're in that position, you're literally pushing down. You push down with both legs at the same time and not spring up, but straighten your body to that position. Then it just does amazing things. It changes, it's a game changer. It really is. So the idea is, and this is how I'm looking at it at the moment, you're trying to keep the board literally as flat or as parallel to the water as you can, and therefore the wing will do the same. So rather than just doing this motion, even though it's a lot less than the porpoising of a low aspect wing, as you push down with both legs, it actually generates lift. This is as long as you keep the board parallel to the water. So you push down with your legs, both at the same time, and it generates lift. If you've pushed down to get that straightish body position, you can then pause at the top, and it gives you that lovely bit of glide. And because, like I say, pushing down lifts the foil of the board, you can then hover at the top, before compressing, and that's when the board goes down. It's counterintuitive, but this is what I've found happens. So you're going along, you press down with your legs, causes the board to rise. You pause, it glides at the same level, and then as you compress your body, it drops ever so slightly, and then you push down and it rises again. And the trick is to keep the board as flat as you can the whole time. Now this is something else that I gleaned off of, it wasn't a YouTube video this time, it was a thread in the Seabreeze foil forum. Seabreeze is an Australian foil forum. The guys on there know their stuff. There's a lot of really experienced guys there, and they're all really friendly and happy to share their experiences. And there's one guy on there called Piros. I hope I pronounced his name right. He seems to have been in foiling since the very beginning. I mean, he's an awesome guy. He's very down to earth, very helpful, and he posted a couple of answers to comments that were saying, don't forget to choke your pump. And I was like, what do you mean by choking your pump? And from what I gather, it's all about when you get to the top, you just pause to let that glide happen. And then you push down again and it goes up. You pause. It just makes a huge amount of difference. And also what I found is that my arm swings don't throw me off balance anymore, because instead of going down and up like this, I'm going literally up and, instead of going forward and down and up, forward and down and up, I'm now going literally just up, down, up, pause, down, up, pause. So swinging my arms, I've worked it out why, it's less likely to knock me off balance because I'm upright, whereas doing all this forward motion as well, every time you swing your arms, you've got to take into account the angle of your body so it doesn't throw you off balance. At least I think that's what was happening to me before. So anyway, I'm just going to finish off this video with a couple of clips that I'll do a little bit of a voiceover. One with the Cane to Wild video, one with a guy called Koa Smith. Again, I may have mispronounced his name, but he seems to be like Kai Lenny, one of these Maori guys who's, he's really young. He's, in my defence, he's a lot, well, not a lot, but he's smaller and lighter. He's younger, fitter, obviously, than me, and he jumps off this base of a bridge somewhere in Maui into a river. First time ever on a 180, and the third time he's pumping. Then he tries the 240 for the first time ever, and I'll show you, unbelievable glide that he gets, and that's the first time he's used it. So, fair play to those guys. They've been doing it all their lives, pretty much born in the sea. But for the mere mortals like myself, I need to analyse it, break it down, practice. And this thing last night, it just clicked so much that I just thought I'd do a real quick, well, much shorter video than the last one, and because quite a few people have said that they found the first one useful. Anyway, there we go. I hope that's all right. I hope that's clear enough. If I'm not, then please post a comment and I'll do my best to answer. Cheers. Okay, so this is one of the first clips from the YouTube video, Even the Dog Can't Believe His Eyes. This is Cane to Wild, and I believe he's on a signature albatross foil, a large high aspect wing. Like I said, the board's tiny, but that's pretty much irrelevant for this. If I just play it, we're at half speed at the moment. The point of this is to look at how he's pumping. So he's coiling up and then pushing down as he straightens up. So coiling down, pushing down with his legs as he straightens his body. And it's a very straight body rather than leaning forwards. Yes, he's compressing a bit by pivoting at the hips as he bends his knees, but he's still pushing down with his legs to straighten his body, and as a result his body is much more upright. There's another clip in a minute, which I'll try and find, which shows the pause at the top. There's a really good bit, sorry, hang on. So he goes up and pauses, up and pauses, up and yeah. Is he doing enough to illustrate my point? And you can see that the board, as he pushes down with his legs, the front of the board is never going past the parallel with the water. Not much anyway. Cool. Okay, so that'll do for the first bit. The next one I wanted to show you was Coa Smith, and apparently this is his first time with a GL240. He jumps off instantly, and I'll just show you anyway. This is full speed. Now, there's a few points, especially when he's coming back. Look at the glide there. Look at glides. Just every now and again, he just pauses at the top. So for the glide to happen, you've got to be at the top, and you've got to point or have the board totally parallel. See, he's at the top and he pauses. There you go again. And then he carries on. But every time he puts front foot pressure, he never lets the front of the board angle down towards the water. Okay, so the last little video clip that I'll show you is me, and this one is only a few seconds, and I've clipped it, I've trimmed it, so I'll be coming from this corner and heading across. It was at the end of a 2-hour session, and Muscat at the moment is close to 40-degree heat pretty much all day. I mean, it's horrendous in the middle of the day. And this bay, the water is actually warmer than the air temperature, so every time you fall in, you actually heat up rather than cooling down. I was exhausted, but I was still able, using this technique, I was still able to pump out, do a nice turn, and pump back without literally feeling like I'm going to, my lungs are going to blow up. So I'll just show you. It's not perfect by a long way. But you can see that my body is much more upright. I'm pushing down with my legs with each pump, and look at the height on the mast. So the height on the mast is much better than it used to be. My body is much more upright. And as you push down, not only does it help to maintain the height, but it really helps to generate or keep the speed going, and that's key. So pushing down with both legs at the same time to straighten your body, not to spring up off the board. I'll just rewind it and then for the last time. So I know that at the moment the front of my board is going down, but when I get it right from about here, the nose of the board isn't going down. Oh, missed it. Anyway, so those are my thoughts on what I'm sort of considering to be the next level of pump technique. From the point of view of fitness and strength, it seems to be a lot more efficient, and like I said, at the end of a very long hot session, I was able to go out and back to the boat. I was doing 30 or 40-second runs, whereas normally in that sort of a heat, unless I go out in the morning when it's cooler, normally in that sort of a heat, 20-25 seconds, that's it. I'm literally panting away and have to have a couple of minutes recovery before the next try. So anyway, if I've not been clear, or if you've got any questions, then I will do my very best to answer them as quick as I can. As you can tell, I'm very excited about this. I'm going to be out on the water. I'm doing it as much as I can, because the ultimate goal, the reason why I'm doing this ultimately, is to practice for connecting waves. I mean, that to me is the holy grail of foiling. Other people have got their own, opinions about why or reasons for why they're foiling. For me, it's all about catching swell, unrideable waves, linking waves together to get 2-for-1s, 3-for-1s, 4, as many as you can, and of course downwinding. And all of this flat water pumping is really being done for 2 reasons, for me anyway. First of all, to improve my fitness, and secondly, to improve my technique. If I manage to do both of those, then I reckon it stands to reason I'll be having more fun out on the water. All right, well, take care, and keep practicing.